Hey there, and welcome to U Talk. We connect with amazing people from across Canada and ask them about their stories, passions, and experiences. And today we have a friend from down south. I'm your host, Ryan Funk. When you think of Thanksgiving, what comes to mind? Turkey, stuffing, family gatherings? One musician is trying to change that. Xiya is from Houston, Texas, and wants to inspire a movement of Thanksgiving music.
My name is Xiya D. I'm a songwriter, singer, rapper living in Houston, Texas. And this year I released my debut project. It's called Thankful Carols. It's a Thanksgiving album that I'm really excited about. So that's who I am and what I do.
There's some great pieces that you sent us, and it was super cool just listening to it. What first got you into music? Why did you want to become a musician?
I have been writing songs since I was about 6 years old. It started off as kind of a little bit of a poetry thing, but then I developed melodies and different things, but I didn't do anything with them. Like I legitimately have like a bag of scraps of pieces of paper with jumbled up lyrics in them. And so honestly, for about 18 years, I just hoarded those poems and didn't do anything with them. And then the pandemic happened, right? And I needed an outlet. I am a stressed out graduate student on top of my creative pursuits. So I knew I needed an outlet, and I was like, you've been writing music, it's time that you do something with them, I think. So the pandemic kind of pushed me into giving myself and allowing myself more creative freedom. And I started, recording, sharing verses on social media. And then this past year, I was like, okay, look, I wrote the Thanksgiving EP last November at the beginning of the month, but I knew it wasn't enough time to do anything. So this year I was like, okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, sometimes in terms of your passions, it just takes something to, push you over the edge to get you going.
That was exactly my case for sure.
Why specifically a Thanksgiving EP?
My best friend loves Christmas, right? And every year we would get in arguments like, girl, it's too early to play Christmas music, like chill. And she'd be like, no, after Halloween, there's no such thing as Thanksgiving music. So I'm a huge defender of Thanksgiving, right? And I feel like too, Christmas music is super saturated. There's covers on covers on covers, right? And so I don't know, I just wanted to fill in this gap. I love Thanksgiving. And I also wanted to tell different stories about Thanksgiving. So like each track kind of tells different people's perspectives of Thanksgiving. So look, if you don't like your family, or like if you're not celebrating with your family this year, bam, you got Friendsgiving, right? You got your traditional kind of holiday, pumpkin spice sounding songs on there. That's Think the Natives, right? So each track kind of gives you a different perspective, because honestly, I hope this kind of jump starts a Thanksgiving movement where other artists are like, okay, I want to tell my stories too. Like, this is what I want to do.
No, I think that's a great thing. There's definitely that little period of time where there's not. I mean, me being in Canada, it's slightly different. We have a very early Thanksgiving compared to the States. But yeah, there's definitely that period of time. It's like summer. There's the summer ballads and stuff like that. But, once you hit that fall season, it's just like nothing really. Then Halloween hits, and then all of a sudden it's Christmas again, the 1st of November.
Yes. And it's like, okay, but I feel like this is wrong, but what else is there to do? Right. And also too, I think I also wanted to fill in the gap a little more, just because the pervasiveness of Christmas music kind of, for me, it puts me into a little more stress of, dang, I got to get gifts. Like I got to do this, and I got to, hustle and bustle at the end of the year. And I just wanted to kind of smooth that out a little bit.
Yes, slow it down. Yeah, Christmas just has that little bit of commercialism that just tries to get you going. And it's like, how about let's just slow things down?
Please, I'm not ready at all.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the process of this EP? What you were thinking going in, how'd you kind of come up with the sounds and lyrics?
So again, stressed out graduate student. I'm having these repeated arguments with my best friend again. And also too, this was, I originally started writing it last year. And so I didn't know if me and my family were going to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? Just because of keeping each other safe and stuff, and thinking about how whack a virtual Thanksgiving would be, right? And different things like that. And so I was processing it. And when I'm songwriting, it starts off as a very selfish thing. It's like, I have all of these emotions. I need to get this out. And then as I'm recording any project, it becomes a very selfless service based. How can I make my listeners feel what I'm feeling, or how is this going to translate, right? So with this project, honestly, I wrote 6 of the songs last year in about, I would say about 6 hours. Like I remember my mom left for the weekend. And then at the end of the weekend, I was like, hey, I have a whole Thanksgiving mixtape. Can you listen to it? She was like, excuse me, what? Like I had written, recorded everything. And she was like, okay. And so last year I recorded it. I'm like, and this is, again, I'm still very much a newbie when it comes to being a musician. So it was a very nasty mix. Like the mixing and mastering was terrible, but you felt the love in it, right? So I let it go, and I was like, maybe I could do it next year or whatever. And then this next year I was like, okay, I was inspired by all of these different sounds, specifically Willow's newest project. Really love that a lot. Jasmine Sullivan's. And I was like, I really want to do this Thanksgiving EP. This is the time for it. So I went through with it. I got some studio time, got a audio engineer to help me out a lot. And I knew I wanted to make it a multi-genre project to reach as many people as possible.
It turns out great. I really liked listening to it. One of the songs that you have, Thank the Natives, why don't you tell me a little bit about that? At least us in Canada, September, we have Thanksgiving, and September 30th, we had National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So yeah. At least for us, it's one of those times where we're thinking about, and you've probably heard of the news of, all these children that we've been finding at residential schools. So there's a lot of history and things still going on in Canada. Yeah. So at least for us, having these conversations is incredibly important.
Yeah. So Thank the Natives was actually a song I wrote last year. And I did it because you can't tell, at least, especially in America, right? You can't tell the Thanksgiving story without Indigenous people. And so I wanted to honor the kindness and hospitality that they showed to people who are foreigners on their land. I feel like we can all continue to learn that lesson, right? Also, I think as a kid growing up, Thanksgiving was my favorite holiday because it was one of the only holidays where we got to talk about Native Americans in a positive light, right? They contributed so much. This is their land, right? And so I made that song to kind of honor them in a way and then emphasize their kindness and grace that they showed, for sure. But yeah, and then this year amongst current events, it definitely kind of doubled down and was even more significant.
Aspects of that, just tying that into our Western Thanksgiving, mm-hmm. that idea of acknowledging Indigenous and Native Americans about their contributions and what we can still learn from them and their lessons.
Absolutely. I've actually been looking into a few different projects on, outside of this song and this project, ways that either I can volunteer or give back financially or raise awareness about different issues that they're going through too. Because when I first started promoting the project, I was a little scared to share that song because I didn't know how it was going to be received in different things, but I knew I wanted that to be the very first song on the project, right? You can't have this holiday without Indigenous people. So that's kind of what motivated me and encouraged me to go through with that and starting off the project with that song.
How has reception been from friends, family, people you've been, I know you have a Spotify page. How do you feel reception's been so far for your music?
Yeah, I've actually received a few different reviews. So family and friends are really liking it. It's so funny because every other day, like a friend or family member will text me and be like, okay, no, this song was really good that first listen, but I listened to it again and this was really speaking to me today. So that's been really encouraging because it's one for different moods, right? So another song I wrote this year, right before I released the project. So the 2 new songs are House Hoppin'. It's a punk rock song about going from house to house collecting plates, and Without You. It's actually a song about grief, and I was nervous to put that one on the project because having a holiday project, it's typically, all giggles and sunshine and different things, family, oh, we're all together. But I wanted to honor the loss that, a lot of people face either because of COVID or just losing people during this pandemic has been essentially especially hard, right? You can't have funerals or different limitations that we have. So the last song, Without You, I was a little nervous about just because I was experiencing some grief and different things like that. But again, friends and family members have been like, wow, that song has been really touching. Or I have friends that lost their parents at a young age and they're like, that's so comforting to me that someone put my feelings into, song format. And so that's been really reassuring too.
I think that's a great approach to tackle different emotions and themes in terms of holiday music. Yeah, like you mentioned, Christmas music. It's all just super excited, woo, Christmas,
yes.
Gifts. But yeah, there are people who have painful memories or current painful experiences around the holidays. And those are things we should be acknowledging and just broadening it so it's not so homogenous.
Exactly. I wanted to do that as, each song is about a different perspective. And I knew I didn't want to ignore that perspective specifically, as well as just being a safe space, so to speak. Like I knew I didn't want to, but I knew I was obligated to put a love song on the project, right? So I was like, okay, look, if I can do this love song, and I really didn't want to at the time, right? I can definitely do this song about grief that I'm passionate about, and that could hopefully be supportive for others.
No, and I hope it starts a trend of people, putting a little more thought into at least holiday music and, starting kind of a Thanksgiving trend. It'd be nice to hear different types of music in like the malls and stores as you're going in. You're like, it's not just, you get a couple Halloween songs in October, and then all of a sudden it's Christmas.
Exactly. That's it. We're the end of the year. We're done. Play it on loop. So yeah, that I'd love to hear different sounds as well as, just messages about gratitude, I think has been super important and supportive for me during this entire project. Just being grateful for the ability to be able to record this project and finally consider myself to be an artist and sharing my music. And so I hope that translates.
A lot of congratulations are in order. Super cool. I'd like to know, how'd you come up with your sound? Does it like just play around in your head? What kind of inspires you?
That's so interesting. Okay, so in summary, everything inspires me like all the time. I'll have text conversations with my best friend and then I will like screenshot it and then show her a verse and she's like, wow, like what is going on in your brain? I'm like, that's just how I think. And I think it's because I've been doing this since I was a kid unofficially. But for me and my sound, I think for this project specifically, I wanted to do a multi-genre project just because a lot of the artists that I respect are doing that work, right? So, Beyonce's Lemonade, right? Doja Cat, Lil Nas X, right? Those are different artists that, Chloe and Halle, how they remix their songs for different performances. That's really exciting to me. So those things inspire me in that way. But so for this project, I did it based on themes and I was like, okay, now what kind of genre would match this theme, right? So I think House Hopping's a perfect example of that. Like I said, I wanted to reach a broad audience. So I was like, okay, I gotta have something rock related, or I really do like listening to a broad range of music. So I was like, I got to give a shout out to my Avril Lavigne Pink days, right? Especially as a youngin', right? So I wanted to do that song to honor that theme, right? Going from house to house, collecting plates. Ooh, it's rebellious. It's breaking the rules of what you think Thanksgiving should be. And then on the flip side, right? So Cornucopia Time is a country rap. Honestly, it's a diss track, right? And so I knew I wanted to talk about how Thanksgiving reigns supreme, and I wanted to do that in the least aggressive way possible. So I was like, okay, make the whole song punchlines. You know what I'm saying? And make the delivery funny and unexpected, right? Throughout the project, I just wanted to give people surprises. So that's why I have a bilingual song on there, Felicia de Acción de Gracias, right? So I was inspired by a lot of different holiday music, because also too, we live in an era where like people are doing more Christmas music, but we're getting a lot of weird genres. And that's what I appreciate. We're getting variety. So I wanted to give them variety on this short project too.
When you're working on a project, being able to tackle so many different things in very different veins, you get to just stretch your creative muscles a little bit.
Yes. And I think for me, how I do that is, and it's a fine balance because I want to, like, I'm inspired by the artists that I listen to and different things, but I don't want to like be a copycat or, mimic their stuff. Like, oh no, that's definitely a seed of such and such, right? So what I do is I kind of soak in that genre for like maybe a week or 2 weeks. And so like house hopping, I was real angsty and, listening to all of the Green Day, listening to Gwen Stefani, no doubt, right? Just listening to all that music. On the flip side, Bringing My Boo, it's a love song. So like Destiny's Child and Kehlani and oh my gosh, I'm in love, right? Because I think for me, it's funny because I don't strongly relate to a lot of these songs that I wrote, right? Mm-hmm. But I soaked into this feeling. Like my music is very moody. So whatever I'm trying to make you feel within those first 30 seconds, you're going to be like, oh no, she's going through this. She's feeling sad. She's feeling super happy. She's so in love, right? So I think for me, it's soaking in those feelings and emotions and different artists that cater to that genre well, and then going out and making it my own.
Ah, that's super cool. What's next for you?
I don't want to kind of be bullied into this corner of Xiya D makes super wholesome music and, this is who you go to for clean Disney Channel cuts of songs, right? I don't want to be bullied into that. I do want to, again, start this wave of Thanksgiving and other holiday music because I feel like the possibilities are endless. But my next project will probably be a lot more edgy. Just because, like I said, my music's very moody. I have a lot of different moods or emotions that I'm channeling and processing, as we all are. And so I'm thinking about doing more of a mental health related one and talking about coping skills and different people's coping skills and what that looks like for sure.
That's very needed, especially after things are, hopefully yeah. This pandemic eventually ends. Oh boy. Well, we're 18 plus months in, if not more.
It's wild. And also too, we're in it now, but the effects of this entire thing has been so unpredictable. And so I want to help. Again, I think, like I said, my music writing process is very selfish, and then recording it is selfless. I'm like, what's the listener going through? How can I make them, what notes are going to make them feel like, oh, emphasize and bold this lyric line, right? So I think for me, it's dealing with the lasting effects of, this was initially supposed to be a very short-term deal and the finish line keeps moving. And so how are we all dealing with that finish line moving?
And I could definitely hear and feel the passion that you have for creating. And it's definitely something you're meant to do.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Again, I'm a newbie at this, but I'm very excited and, so excited for the future.
What advice would you give someone who hasn't crossed that line, that edge yet?
Yes, I'd have two big rules for them. Do it scared. I'm scared all the time. I send emails and I'm like, oh, I have the spicy armpits and I'm like, okay, just send it, just press it. So do it scared, as well as this one's kind of a two-parter, so I don't know, but dream big and act small. So do the small things, right? Is it sending emails? Is it doing research? Is it training? I'm super excited because I'm new to learn about all of these different things. And so just do the little things, right? As well as dream big, go for it, right? And just make it happen in the unglamorous aspects of it. So lately my life has been a lot of emails or a lot of learning about different ways to reach different audiences and things like that. But that's what I would tell somebody, to bully them into their creativity for sure.
You got to get in the trenches in terms to take off.
Yes. A painful lesson that I am actively learning is I gave 100% into this project, and I feel like a lot of artists do, right? But I have to give another 100% promoting this project and making sure that it reaches the audiences that I would like it to, because I dream big.
When you put that effort and passion in something, you want to make sure people can see it, because there's nothing worse than putting so much effort into a project. You get it out there, and you're like, oh, here's a video, 1 view, and it's like, wait, oh, that was me.
Yes, that's been my kind of nightmare. That's been motivating and fueling all of this wild promo that I've been doing, as well as in the past I've been like, I did the thing. I'm done. Leave me alone. But there's extra steps past that point of, okay, no, you did the thing. Great job. Pat on the back. Keep going. You know, I was complaining to my sister the other day, and I was like, this project has really pushed my comfort zone, and I'm uncomfortable, and I've been places I've never been, and I'm tired of going to new places. She was like, okay, but how do we get to that sweet spot of like, boom, I've made it, like all my dreams come true? Is that comfort zone is definitely being popped on a weekly basis, and it's awkward and uncomfortable, but I know it's going to be worth it. I mean, I'm already being interviewed, right? So I'm super excited about this entire process.
Hey, it's a first step headed over. Yeah, but it's definitely not a 9 to 5 in terms of a creative job. You can't just, all right, time to clock out for today. You got to just get into it.
You got to do the nitty gritty, and I would have liked it, like, honestly, if we're being completely transparent here, this project was supposed to come out September 15th. It came out October 15th, and I'm just keeping that ball rolling because I wanted, more time to promote for Canadian Thanksgiving. It didn't work out because of personal reasons. That's okay. I'm giving myself grace in that way. But just being able to, like, ideally, I would be able to do this in short chunks and do small emails at the end of the day, right? Like in 30 minutes, okay, I'm going to send 5 emails after work today. But because I'm on a much shorter time crunch, I'm like, all right, what spare time do we have? And how can we maximize this and different things? And it's all been a learning process. Like after this, I'm going to journal everything I did and say, all right, what worked? What didn't work? How can we modify the process for future projects?
Best of luck and success in your future efforts. It's so cool, this project. Where can people find you online?
Yes. Okay. So they can find me on Xiya.content on social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok. My website is Xiya Content. So XIYACONTENT.com. And my music is on all streaming platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all of the awesome places. So please check it out. I always say, like, if you don't like a song, it's okay. There is something on that project for you.
If you have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight, leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk, and have yourself a good one.